straight understanding. That's what I know. If you ain't heard what's the word when the word has been served in. That's on you, bro. Say it with your chest, don't digress. Keep it fresh, speak your whole truth, never give nothing less. Gotta give your all, give your best. If you try, you see failure, but aim for success.
So these guys are Germans, and they're working bloodline. So they have the show line and working line. So that's why you can see they have straight backs, not sloping backs. They have thicker bones. There's more mass, and they're very muscular.
Muscular.
Well, also that's what Lucifer works out twice a day, 8.8 miles. 4.4 miles in the morning, 4.4 miles at night uphill. Lily, on the other hand, is not a fan of working out. I have to coax her to get on the treadmill. She's always like, oh my God, Mom. But Lucy's obsessed. You know, he loves to work out and it keeps him happy.
Hi! Welcome! We've been waiting for you! Hi! Hi!
So nice to see you.
You too! Hi, come on in!
Wow.
This is where it all...
Oh
we
my
make
God.
all of their food.
Amazing. Look, Lucy, Lily. What do you think?
Come on in.
Wow. This is heaven.
Hey, this is Lydia. Lydia's packaging right there. Lydia's a finished product person.
Oh, we smell meat.
She is so careful about everything. It's very precise on
Oh
how
my
we weigh
gosh.
everything.
I'm going to have to do some taste testing with the babies.
And then we have our meat master, Zach, over here.
What?
This is my nephew.
Okay, who does not want a meat master? I want a meat master.
You can't have mine, Lana.
Okay, but I want a meat master. How do you become a meat master?
We'll get you one. We can get you one.
Oh my God.
It's a long, arduous process. They have to love what they do, and he loves what he does. Says it's the best job he's ever
I
had.
want a meat master.
A personal meat master, one or two.
How cool is that? Okay.
And as requested, Lana, I have your beautiful lamb over here.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
And how we start out here is we do a boneless lamb leg. There are tons of cuts of lamb, but I don't like a lot of them because when it comes to meat, I'm pretty specific about what I use and why we use it. And kind of as we discussed before, if there's a brand of that I use and have used for 12 years while I've been doing this, if they happen to be out of stock, like we had supply chain issues during COVID, etc., we just take it off the site. So here's some of our wonderful, dark, delicious lamb leg. And lamb can be a little fatty. So what we'll do in here is, getting back to Meat Master Zach, Zach will go ahead and do some trimming before we get it in to the grinder. So here's our bone component for doing a pre-model raw. We do an 80-10-5-5, which is 80% muscle meat. Heart is fed as muscle. Heart is a muscle, it's not a secreting organ. 10% bone. So here you go, we've got our lamb ribs. 5% liver and 5% secreting organ. And a lot of people think a secreting organ is paramount, because a secreting organ is an organ that actually takes in any sort of substance and has the chemical reaction and releases it back into the bloodstream. Now, heart is the muscle, it's pumping it out. Gizzards are muscle, they're in there and that's what it is, but the secreting organ is paramount. So kidneys is a secreting organ, spleens a secreting organ, testes.
We love spleens.
Yes.
What about sweetbreads?
Sweetbreads as well.
I feel like since I feed my babies like the ancestral wolf, they need fat.
They absolutely do need fat.
So why are you cutting out the fat?
We want to cut out the large pieces of fat because if we kept this fat exactly the way it is, we're taking our fat percentage over 30 to 40% in this particular meat.
Because my dogs live on Souly Raw.
Yeah.
So what I do is I actually add bone marrow to their meals because I feel that they need the fat.
Correct. Not everyone, and we kind of talked about it before, not every dog is able to take in as much, let's say, fat or bone that everyone feeds. So what we do as a foundation diet is by design, because we know people are going to add different things, whatever they choose to add, whether it be raw goat's milk, whether it be bone marrow, whether it be marrow bones all day in the afternoons. That's what we do at my house. We want to give you a foundation. We give you, this has got, lamb and goose have the highest percentage of fat, and we still trim them. That's just a fattier meat. You do want to feed a fattier meat. You want marbling in it. You do want fat. It's good. It's the second thing they use for energy, and it's very important.
Because they need fat, they need protein, and that's about it. They don't need carbohydrates whatsoever.
Absolutely. They have no use for them.
My dogs have never seen dog food, like even from far away. They don't even know that that exists.
Right. So we have specific clients. A lot of them have conditions when they come to us. Some dogs start their senior dogs or cats at 12, 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Without teeth, you know, all sorts of different things, you know, because they've gone through
so
the
sad.
gamut. They have kidney, you know, so that's why we keep this the way that we do. And that's, again, for all the dogs, if you will. So what I'm trying to do, and based on our original talk, I'm trying to do some items so we can do, so here's your nice little lamb kidney. It's a secreting organ. And then we have your liver out here.
This is
liver
so,
is nice
I
and
want you
dark.
to know this is really incredible. This is cleaner and better and more impressive than most of the butcher shops I have visited.
Thank you. We
And
try
cleaner
really
than
hard.
most restaurants, which is very impressive.
Thank you. We try, like I said, we try
I feel
really
like
hard.
I should stop buying my meat from butchers for myself and just get yours.
Whatever you want, Lana.
Yeah.
You know that's my answer.
Anyway, I eat
whatever
their
you
meat.
want.
And they look at me like, Mom, what are you doing? That's ours.
I take it home. Who are you kidding?
And welcome to LanaLive. This is part of a series called Canine Chronicles. And we have the amazing Lisa from Souly Raw with us today. And Souly Raw is my dog's favorite food. They eat only raw and 99% Souly Raw. And we're very lucky that Lisa was able to join us so we can talk about all dog nutrition stuff and everything related to dog nutrition and healing with nutrition and just dog food.
My favorite topic. Hi.
So Lisa, I'm a big fan, as you know. I love you. I love what you do. My dogs love you. And I will have so many questions. How did you get into doing this, to providing raw food?
It's funny. A lot of these stories, it's all about need, if you will. We all have a need for something. I had a dog. I had a sick dog. I had a puppy, and everything that started with him, it just was one thing after another. I had a 3-month-old dog, and I was spending time at the vet. He didn't like to eat his food, and I just, was thinking something that was minor, one thing after another. Instead, it was a snowball. It kept getting worse and worse. Every month there was a new symptom. There was a problem with him. So I would switch his food. I would switch from one bag of commercial food to another bag of commercial food, and I didn't fix anything, obviously. So as things went on and on, progressed, I'll fast forward about 2 years. And, one night, it was middle of the night, and he's scratching and itching. The house stunk from his skin, and it was just full of, there was yeast infections and ear infections, and it was terrible. And I just started crying. I was like, this dog is so sick, and I'm supposed to be taking care of him, and I'm doing a horrible job. Sorry. And so I just, at that point in time, I said, I am going to rebuild him from the inside out. Like the $6 Million Man, if anyone's familiar with that, but that show. And so I called the vet in the morning, and I said, I'm taking him off all these medications. We've not removed one symptom. We've just added.
Sure.
And I'm going to start him on raw diet.
So I have a very important question to ask you, and I think a lot of our viewers want to know the same thing. Can you feed raw on a tight budget?
Absolutely. What's important about raw food, a lot of people don't want to put the effort into it, because whether or not they work or they have children, or it's just not their lifestyle, they're vegetarian, they don't like to touch meat. That's where a lot of times it comes into a pre-made raw. Now, as far as doing a DIY, because it's something that you're committed to or you're interested in as well, it just takes a little bit of legwork on you.
So what is the smallest budget that you can have per day and still be able to feed your dog? And let's talk about my dogs, right? They're German Shepherds. And I know some dogs eat more than others. I know that Luci and Lili are both on approximately 2 pounds of meat. Well, not just meat, their entire meal. And they only eat once a day. So if I were to feed them on a very tight budget, but still try to do the best I could, how much would that be, do you think?
You could probably do it 2 pounds. If you're feeding a chicken, you can get a whole chicken, $1.99 a pound, and there you go. You're under $5 a day for 2 pounds. DIY. Are we ready to build a bowl?
We're ready.
So what we're gonna do here, this whole smorgasbord on this table is ingredients that you can do to build a 80-10, 5-5 prey model raw ratio. 80% of a prey model raw diet is muscle meat. So examples of muscle meat. We've got here, I got a pork loin here that's kind of trim, but this is called a pork loin roast, but this is available at most every grocery store. The things that I selected on most of this table, 75% of this table, are things that you can find at a local grocery store. You do not have to go to a Whole Foods market. You don't have to go to a specialty market. Now you certainly can if that's where you shop and that's the type of meat that you would like, grass-fed and finished, but you certainly don't have to. And I went and purchased these at a local store, Safeway. So anyway, we'll start and we'll go with a pork version. And we're gonna go ahead, the biggest thing, and I'm gonna do this all based on, let's say, we'll do a 1 pound, okay? It's not a lot, but 1 pound you can take from that. Most of you are feeding either, whether it be 16 ounces in a pound, obviously, but a pound is easy to work with and easy to figure out financially what type of budget you're using. So, your scale is number one. Everybody's got a food scale. If not, go get a food scale. They're like $7. I use this digital one. I've already tared it for the size of this bowl, okay? So this we're at 0. So let's start right here with our muscle. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave this because it's already kind of trimmed. I don't hate this. So right now, that right there is almost a pound. I'm sorry, it is over a pound. It is 18 ounces. So what we're gonna do, that just shows you how little's going in this. And this particular cut of pork loin, you can find for $2.99, okay? So considering this is your largest part, what we're gonna wanna do is we need to get 80%. But I also am gonna add a little bit of pork heart in there too. So, still a little much. So we've got 8 ounces here. Let me go find my pork heart. Oh, I don't have a pork heart, but I have a beef heart. We have a lot going on here. There we go. Now we're gonna go ahead and got our ounces here. Let's go and find secreting organ versus, let's say, another organ. Now, a lung is an organ, a gizzard is an organ, but a heart is an organ. Getting back to the heart is muscle. They are muscles. They have a function in the body, but the body is not to take in a substance, synthesize it, and release it back in the bloodstream. That is the difference between a secreting organ and a muscle type organ, where a gizzard is muscle. Because birds, they don't chew, they have beaks, they don't chew whatever they're eating. So this particular muscle breaks it down and is able to get it back into the body so the body can use it as food. Now let's go with our liver. 5% liver. Liver is huge, and one of the things where some people will feed a higher percentage of liver, that is a very rich organ, and you can end up with a loose stool. Getting back to what we're doing, where you could go ahead and balance it out the other way with bone, but it's just good to stick with, in my personal opinion, 5% of liver. Now we have to go to our secreting organ. Let's go ahead and go with, let's try this pork kidney. Okay. Here we are. So you guys can see each percentage if you want to use something like this, and it's fine if you want to use more than one protein. If your dog or cat does not have a protein sensitivity, we're going to go with dogs in this one, does not have a protein sensitivity, you can put as many proteins as you like in a bowl. At my household, we have 3 different proteins because mine don't like to eat the same thing. They're very picky. So then from this, we can go ahead and take your bone. Now so going back to your different cartilage, hard cartilage or bone or calcium, these all have different components. This has more bone in it than, say, a neck, because neck has more muscle meat. So when you're going ahead to feeding a muscle or a large turkey neck, such as this, you're not gonna have to feed as much as the other muscle meat. Or you can use this as your breakfast with a little fish, whatever you wanna do. Goat smoke, we've discussed it. You can kind of have fun with it. So we'll go ahead and put this in, and here you go. This is gonna be 1 bowl, okay? So let's say for 1 meal. Small, 1 pound. Again, here's your muscle, here's your heart, here's your liver, here's your secreting, and then we have 2 of these. There are various calculators that will let you know how much bone is in each cut. Like for example, a duck neck, a duck head, or chicken head, foot. There's different resources online that you can find. One of them is Primal Pooch. Amy Marshall, her site is excellent. She also has a book that's for raw feeding for beginners, which I recommend that you guys take a look at. It'll kind of help you along your journey. And the other source is Perfectly Rawsome. But there's also calculators out there available for you to buy the software. From that point in time, you can go in and back into your numbers. You can back in using the proteins you'd like to use. Spleen is an excellent source of a secreting organ, but it's very hard to find. Also, some of you might not be able to get, for example, these different types of livers or proteins. Maybe they don't have it, maybe you don't have time to shop. What you guys can also do is go ahead and get a dried version. So I brought this out here. Here's rabbit liver. Go ahead and now, when you dry any sort of meat, realize 1 pound dries to 4 ounces, okay? So then you're gonna go ahead and have to do different calculations. So calculators are huge, and a weight and a scale is huge, okay? So this is just a simple meal that we can put together. Now, if you guys wanna use something like, let's go back to, we can go to beef. We can do beef straight with, where did I put bone dust? I have bone dust, so let's go ahead and make a quickie with beef. We'll go ahead and keep these on here. And again, I particularly like this cut of meat. This is a chuck roast. Now, chuck roast is typically, we know it as pot roast. Now this right here is $4.99 a pound, okay? Now look at this marbling. This is lovely. There's no need to trim any of this excess fat on here. I'm a fan of this just as is, okay? But again, they don't care that it takes a while to break it down and it's too tough. They're not complaining. But again, I do like fat component in it. You don't have to go straight for a filet mignon, but you certainly can if you want. Fat is important for dogs. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go there. There's our muscle meat. Go ahead and add a little bit more of our heart. Go. Get back to our liver. Let's go ahead and get spleen. I'll just use this. Oh God, that's beautiful. That's bison spleen. Okay, so there we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and top it off and get our 10% bone dust. Now, you guys can grind this if you want, but realize they're happy to chew. You can certainly cut it up, dice it if you want, but go ahead and take this, or I suggest you don't do one meal at a time. I suggest the smallest amount you want to do in a grinding situation when you're trying to weigh for organs, and also to save yourself a whole lot of headache, is go ahead and do 10 plus pounds at a time, depending on what size dog you're doing. Some people meal prep for a whole month, some people meal prep for a whole week. Certainly up to you. My dogs like to chew, so I don't grind everything. They also like I said, getting back to these other components, here's another piece of dried spleen. You can use these in lieu of finding the raw version, okay? And last but not least, super simple, let's go whole bird. Now, this is just a straight chicken. I did not get an organic, certified organic. I got a chicken that was $1.48 a pound, okay? This does not have organs in it. You can buy them with organs intact. This one does not, but please be cognizant about that. And as I said, you're gonna wanna go ahead. You don't have to add heart. If you don't have access to it, I recommend it because it's just a great organ. It's just packed full of nutrients. It's one of my favorite things to feed, but you don't have to do it if it's not something you can get and it's not available to you. So I would go ahead and take this. I've got a lot going on here. Okay, so let's go. I don't like this. I'm gonna take this fat and I would toss this. I'm gonna go ahead and break this down. Now also, I like to feed dark meat. I like dark meat. I think it tastes better, and I do know that there's more nutrient value in that versus the white meat. But here's your thing. When you're doing a whole bird, if you're not feeding this whole bird at once, you don't want to just take all of the parts with the bone in. You want to make sure you're getting this muscle meat in there. And you can do this yourself, or you can certainly have a butcher do this for you, or you can go ahead and just buy the parts yourself. But just be cognizant, each one carries a different bone to meat ratio. And I also suggest don't buy ground meat. If you guys can, at all costs, buy a cut of meat. If you want to feed it ground, you don't have a grinder, have the butcher grind it for you. And the reason is typically when you're doing a ground meat, you don't know what kind of meat was in that. It's not necessarily sourced for you. It could be the dregs of the meat from the day after they ground everything and you're not selecting, or could not be a choice cut of meat that you would select. Okay, so there we go. You can go ahead and keep the skin on. You can go ahead and keep, so here we go. See, I took this one out here because I'm gonna go ahead and, I would rather get this whole leg with the bone in right here.
Are you ready to taste? Let's go. Let's
Oh, okay. Since lamb's the
Brown,
theme of the
are you
day,
ready? Zeets.
I have some
Zeets.
lamb bone broth. Little thawed so we can pour it out because bone broth is naturally a very thick gel consistency
Lily,
if it's made properly by design, because we want it to not be totally digested in the stomach and go to the joints where it's used. There we go.
Lucy, Zeets. Zeets.
Okay. I don't know how many of us, I'm gonna guess it's just me and Lana and the dogs here, right?
Let me see. Okay.
Okay.
Zeets. Don't move. Okay. Ready? Go ahead.
You guys want to cheers with us?
Yay. Lucy, you want to try? Do you want to try?
Oh. Yay. Come here.
Lucy, come here. She's just pissed right now. Come here. Good girl. Yay.
Lana.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lucy, you want some?
I want some of yours. Oh.
It's so good. Oh my God. Ooh.
You can taste the lamb.
It's
for
very
sure.
good.
It is. She says she wants something.
Lily.
I give her whatever she wants.
Straight talk, make for straight understanding. That's what I know. If you ain't heard what's the word when the word has been served in. That's when you broke. Say it with your chest, don't digress. Keep it fresh. Speak your whole truth. Never give nothing less. Gotta give your all. Give your best. You try, you see failure, but
Lisa, on behalf of the Morningstar Dynasty, Luci and Lili, we would like to present you with the 3 Michelin stars
I'm so
for your
excited.
amazing food.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Luci and Lili approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So glad to have you guys here.
Make sure you display it proudly.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm gonna go out and get a frame for this. Are you kidding me? Would you look at how cute this is?
You're the only one who has earned their 3 paws of approval. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So, like, what did you think when you saw these dogs do bite work for the first time?
I thought it was the most insane thing ever.
First of all, it's a release.
Right.
But second of all, it allows them to express their genetic needs. They need to do this. This is what they're bred for. And it gives them an outlet, a time, and a place to get that aggression out. Because if not, if it wouldn't be for the treadmill and the bite work, I would have monsters on my hands. So we have to honor the genetics and we can work against them. But I think it's important that we give them a time and a place to bite, to run, which is what they're inherently made to do, to be dogs. Watch him! Watch him! Hey! Hey! Fast! Good job. Good job. Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him! Good job. No! No! Get him!
Yeah, boy.
Good job. Get him! Get him! Good job. Get him! Get him! Fast! Get him!
No!
Good job.
Start walking.
Good boy. Good job. That's
just hold the
beautiful.
fist
It makes
tight.
me hungry, Michael. When I saw them cooking his steak, that's why I watch him. Fast. Watch him. Yeah.
I give you the dog, and then I take the next one out.
Good job. Good girl.
Coming.
Fast. 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 Get him. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good girl. Good job. Tag him. Good job. Good job. Nice. Good job. Get him. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Say it with your chest, don't digress. Keep it fresh, speak your whole truth, never give nothing less. Gotta give your all, give your best. If you try, you see failure, but aim for success.
So, Michael, you are amazing at what you do. You're the best trainer out there. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you're one of the top trainers in the world. And you also helped create Lucifer, right?
Correct.
You and Jeanette bred Lucifer.
Yes.
So tell me how you created Lucifer, the one and only Lucifer.
The one and only Lucifer. It took my wife and me roughly about 8 years. We had a vision for Lucifer, and generation after generation we come closer to make this happen. The parents are from Germany. Lucifer was bred here in the United States by us. All Schutzhund 3 titles behind, all generations back. We had this vision for this dog. He is such an amazing, strong animal. And we find the best bloodlines, what we think in Germany, for makes this happen.
And what was your vision specifically? So what are the physical characteristics you were looking for, and psychological or mental characteristics?
That this dog is be very strong, very physical there, and what we see now after 2.5 years, you go with your dog in restaurants, he is trained to be perfection. Kids can go to him.
Yes.
He is very mellow.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, when you turn him on,
Yep.
he stands his presence for protection.
He turns into a beast. Do you think you accomplished your goals with Lucifer?
I think so. I think so. It's very close. He is perfect. I mean, there is nothing what we can. We have a half brother in the home and now, but he will not be better. He is absolute perfection, and some of this is a breeder, and some of this is also you, Lana, with your feeding, your socialization, what you put into the dog, the treadmill, the endurance, and all this.
I made a commitment. I made a commitment to this dog and to Lily, but I committed to continuing your work and improving what you've given me.
Absolute perfect.
And I paid an enormous amount of money for this dog. I think I believe that you get what you pay for.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he costs more than any Ferrari out there, or whatever is the most expensive car. But I really think I got what I paid for. He brought light back into my life. He's amazing.
Right, right.
And you have a long history of dogs. Well, how old were you when you started?
I started with 9 years.
You were 9 years old.
I was 9 years
Oh
old.
my gosh.
Yeah,
You started training your first dog at 9.
9 years.
And so it's been roughly what? 50 years.
I'm still 64.
So you've been doing this a long time, and I know that you have many awards and lifetime achievement awards from the SV. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
To the time I was 16 years old and I had my Bronx Hundeführer Sportabzeichen, what translate to dog handler award, you can say. So I had bronze, silver and gold. To the time I was the youngest whatever achieved this by the SV in this age.
Wow.
Then later on I got my big sport award. They say it's the highest level what you can get for training. And also from the German government for security of fighter plane airports. I was one of the heads and was working with my team 5 competition, and I was the only one whatever won all 5 competitions in 1 year with the same dog.
So you're like the German Shepherd Whisperer. Yeah.
You can see this.
And I think your wife told me you also got a Lifetime Achievement Award from the SV.
Yes.
What is that exactly?
It's 50 years membership, so
Wow.
it presents the whole life. And the good thing is, in my age, money is short, and then after 50 years, you must not pay your membership
Yeah.
dues. It's for free. So
Okay.
thank you, German SV.
Very nice. And what do you do now? You still train? Do you
I'm
only train your dogs that you import or breed, or do you train other people's dogs?
I train also other people's dogs. I like to stay with German Shepherds or let's say working line dogs, Malinois. Mostly basic obedience for private people. 3-4 dogs a month. What
Do you
goes
do
into
bite work
this?
with anyone? Or do you have to
I
be a
have-
certain person to be able to do bite work with your dog?
When I do bite work with people, I want that they also can handle the dog. So when they are not physically or mentally there where I think they need to be, I will not do protection work with them to
That
make
makes
dogs
sense.
even more
Yeah.
alert.
Because
Not
it's
every family also needs a protection dog like this. It's a natural instinct most of the time what the dogs gives you.
But you know, I feel that Luci and Lili's training is very important, because not too long ago an Amazon driver took it upon himself to walk in through one of my gates that was open, unlocked, despite all the signs on my property. And my dogs cornered him, and I'm pretty sure he wet his pants, which was very, very entertaining. But they were barking incessantly, and they did a hold and bark, waiting
Yeah.
for me to come out.
Yeah.
And they were looking at me, waiting for permission to eat this man, which of course they didn't get. But I did take an extra minute or two just because I was enjoying the view so much. But I honestly believe if it wouldn't have been for all the training that we did, I think that these
They
dogs
have
would have
bitten
eaten this man.
Yeah.
So I feel that this protection work that we do comes in very useful, because the dogs know not to do anything without permission.
Right.
Do you find that to be true for all dogs or just my dogs?
I mean, the training is definitely absolutely helpful for this, to do the bark and hold and all this. This is what we train the dogs for. Dogs are natural instinct to protect their families, their kids, and, but it's definitely helpful, yes.
And since I have 2 dogs now, I got both Lucifer from you, and then you imported Lili for me. So let's talk about Lili. I know that we looked for over a year, and I
Yeah.
know that I wanted her yesterday, but you said no. So it took us over a year and a countrywide search, I think, in all of Germany to find Lili, right?
Right.
She's incredible. But what were you looking for in her genetics, and besides what I wanted her to look like with the long hair and
Black.
big bones,
Yeah.
all black, but what were you looking for in terms of bloodlines or genetics?
We looked for very strong bloodline genetics. The father von Lili is a Bundessiegerprüfung winner, a champion in the Bundessiegerprüfung. And the mother is also an IPO3, Schutzung 3 female. Very strong bloodlines behind the male, the sire, and the female. So we liked the bloodline very much and followed this breeder for some time and look at her background and we were thinking this was the right fit for Lucifer.
And obviously it was, and her, I think that she is incredible. Her bite work and her agility is incredible. So is that genetic? Can you do that with any dog, or does it have to be specific genetics?
Not with any dog. This bite work, what Lily shows us in this young age, 10 months now,
Almost,
9 months, it's overly over the top. It's just, but we have also, I'm very picky with my decoys, with people where I work with, and Eric is for me one of the best out there for the full bodysuit, like police dogs, military dogs, to get them age appropriate where we need them. He can read the dog. I want not people only that pressure the dogs. The dogs needs to be built up in the temperament, in the endurance to match this what we are looking for.
And you know, we just survived Lily's first heat cycle. Even though you warned me and Jeanette warned me, I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
It was very severe. So what do you do what do you do with your dogs when you have to separate them? You have kennels, right?
I have kennels.
But if you didn't have a kennel, what would you do?
I probably will give the dog, one of the male or female, to a friend.
Yeah, I can't do that.
For the 14 days.
Yeah.
It is less headache.
Okay, I can't do that. No.
But you like headache, so...
No, I'm addicted to my dogs. I can't. Okay.
It's very difficult to separate them.
Yeah.
It's intense.
So when Lily had started her heat cycle, we did protection work that first week. Do you think that doing protection work with a female that's in heat is good, bad, irrelevant?
Let's start with Lily. Lily's personality, it doesn't matter to her. She stands her ground. There is no doubt. She will bite if she's in standing heat or it starts.
My baby, I'm so proud. She takes after her mom. I bite all the time too.
So it doesn't matter to Lily.
Yeah.
To another dogs, it will matter. Some dogs change the temperament. They are more leaned back and sometimes a little bit, as we say, spooky.
Yeah.
But Lily, I have not seen anything what she is afraid of. Absolutely not.
So how long have you been doing this in this country? I know that you moved here from Germany.
Correct.
And tell me when you moved here and what the name of your company is and what you do.
We moved here roughly about 24 years ago. As company to the time was Wüstenberger-Land, what transfers into desert mountain land. We live in a town 1 hour from LAX in the mountain. We have the kennel. And so we figured desert, mountain land.
Yeah.
And roughly about 10 years, we built a second company with Kempkes, Executive Canine, what is also very successful, more personalized dogs, special imports and training in personal protection, obedience for people, housebreaking, the whole.
And I understand
thing.
you have quite a few celebrity clients
Yes.
since you're so close to Hollywood.
Yes, we do.
Do they take good care of their dogs or not really? I mean, you don't have to tell me, but I wanna
Nobody
know.
takes so good care as Lana Fuchs. In my whole life, I cannot find a second person where I can say this. We have people what takes very good care over us dogs, but I think you are above
Thank you. I'm flattered.
this. Absolutely.
Thank you. So Eric, we've been working together for probably about a year now.
Yep.
With Lucifer and now Luci and Lili. You're not just a decoy, you're also a trainer, right?
Yes.
What's the name of your company?
RxK9 Training.
And you're out of California as well, right?
Yes, Los Angeles.
And what's your specialty?
I do police canine and personal protection dogs for executive protection dogs.
And you also do the decoy work,
Yeah.
which is different, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of decoy. And I become like a trainer's trainer, so I work with trainers who are getting dogs ready for personal protection or have clients that do that.
And is there a method to this madness? Is there a particular program that you use?
Yes, I've developed my own system over the last 20 years or so that I've been doing this. So,
And what is that called?
there's no really name for it, but it's the way I do it. I start with aggression, and I really want the dog to be in the right frame of mind when he's biting or she's biting, and really want to engage the man more than just play with the equipment and things like that. So I really want to have that conversation with them, eye to eye and verbally, and then we have, work it out like that.
So we've had many conversations. I think you're very good at understanding dog psychology. And I see you have a lot of eye contact with both Lucifer and Lilith. And you seem to get them. And I saw how good you were since day one at bringing out the aggression in the dogs and building their confidence. How do you do that?
Basically, I don't want the dog to be reactive. I want him to activate me. So it'll start with eye contact. And then as the dog becomes more uncomfortable or just frustrated, they become more aggressive, and then I become weaker, they become stronger, and it's a balancing act between them and I. As they become more aggressive, I can become more aggressive, but they have to match that, and it's a balance between their power and my weakness, basically. And then as we grow together over the course of our training, they become very powerful as a result of that.
I noticed how you helped build Lucifer up slowly on a gradient where I've seen since he was a small puppy, he's become much more aggressive and much more confident.
Yes.
I see a lot of trainers out there on Instagram and, just on social media. I don't like what they do. They seem to be very ego driven. And I suspect, I'm not an expert, I just have my two dogs.
Right.
But it looks to me like they're doing it more for their own ego rather than for building the dog. I think they put too much pressure on the dog. And I see the dog letting go of the grip and just being confused.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that goes back to making the dog reactive or the dog activating me. So if I'm silent and I'm staring at the dog and the dog's like, I'm going to get this guy, and he initiates the conversation or the aggression, it makes the dog that much more powerful. Because if I'm sitting here cracking the whip, jumping around, doing backflips, making all kinds of noises, it makes the dog reactive. Now he needs that in order to bring that aggression or that arousal. Yeah.
And I know that you are a big fan of the bite table, which I had built for Lucifer, because
Yeah,
the regular
it's a nice
stuff
one.
out there is not going to hold him. Why do you like the bite table? What is important about that?
I like the bite table because it isolates the dog into a certain area. He can't get back out, and he has to channel his frustration and aggression in one direction, and I can manipulate that. It's good for targeting, so I could put the dog on specific targets and work them there. It's good for outing the dog because he has a direct place to go, and there's not a lot of conflict. And if you can channel the dog's aggression down that tunnel of the table, at the end of the table, there's so many things you could do with it, from aggression work to targeting to getting good obedience and everything out there.
And I see that you do a lot of eye contact on that table.
Yeah.
It's probably easier because he's on the same level as you are, right?
Yeah, eye to eye. And then if I get lower than the dog, that makes him feel more powerful. So
Yeah.
as you can see when I work, when I give him maybe just a little bit to bite, and then he comes in and
he
takes the
pulls
full
you
bite,
in.
boom,
Yeah.
and then I become less, then I become more, he becomes stronger, puts me down. And so it's that balancing act again. But yeah, the eye contact, or if I have no equipment on, it's just me and the dog, it's a confrontation between me and him, and it's safer for me because I can get within inches
Yeah.
and he's trying to bite me, and I can, really manipulate his mind that way.
And what about the fact that you do not wear any protective headgear? I know a lot of people that watch the videos are horrified, and they think that you're insane because he can easily go for your head or your neck.
Yeah. Especially Lucifer, he's a dog that looks for weaknesses in me. So that's why I catch him in certain areas and work him in certain areas, because it's safer for me, because he's really trying to hurt me. We started off, as you could remember, those exercises where we give him the sleeve and he spit it out and he comes straight for the man. Those are things designed for him not to focus on equipment and focus on the man. And if he's not getting satisfaction, if I'm not giving a dog, any dog in general, but him in particularly, because he really wants to hurt me, if
Yes.
I'm not giving him that feedback,
I think he just wants to neutralize you completely.
yeah, exactly. If I'm not giving him that feedback that we were discussing, where I become weaker, he's looking for a place to make me feel that pain, and so he's
makes
a
me
little
so
bit.
happy.
No, from my end of the spectrum, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit nervous, but yeah, he's a good dog, and I don't wear the helmet because once he's on the bite, he's sticking it, and he's crushing my arms or whatever.
So when you
he's
scream in pain, which by the way is music to my ears, I don't know what about a man in pain screaming makes me so happy. I can't explain it. How much of that is real, and how much is that for the effect for the dogs to feel powerful?
Yeah. What I think makes me different from a lot of the other decoys out there is I'm really doing it for a reason. The dog
Right.
has to be hitting my flesh, my bone within that suit, and crushing it for me to get any reaction out of me, right? And I would say 50% of the time, especially with your dog, because he's got such a huge head and he's just a massive beast,
Yeah.
that he's crushed, and he gets me on the elbow or somewhere like where it's a little thinner on the suit. You could tell when it really hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, but to answer your question, I feel it in there. My arms are bruised up.
Well, I've
after
seen
every
your
session.
bruises and the bleeding and stuff.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Listen, I love that you're doing it, and I'm grateful that we can work with Luci and Lili. But it must take a very special personality to be able to do that and to enjoy it, because I know you love these dogs.
I do. I only do it for the dogs. Like I said, there's no ego involved.
Yeah.
I could, I don't do it to say, hey, look what I made that dog do. I like to say, look what that dog made me
Yeah.
do, basically. And I do it because I like to help dogs get better, become more confident. You've seen all the results of it. And I think, I don't know, a lot of trainers say it's an art form, which I feel it is. So it's my
think so.
expression of my creativity.
I
in
love
way.
that. Have you ever seen another dog like Lucifer? Tell the truth.
I'm honestly, physically, he's a specimen. He's probably one of the biggest, most powerful dogs that I've worked. He's
Great
a
dog.
monster. He's beautiful in real life. People don't even, they may see him on Instagram, but
Yeah.
they don't even know. They don't what
He's
he is.
my majestic masterpiece, nature's masterpiece.
Yeah, and Lily is no joke either.
Yeah.
She's at 9 months old. We've been working her for 3?
We got her at 3.5 months.
Yeah, so she's probably one of the most genetically gifted dogs that I've worked.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, she does it for the right
She's a
reasons, and
beast.
she's in it, targeting. She doesn't care. She's from day one. She's just like,
And she's
it's on.
fast. Oh my God.
She learns very quickly, and she's a great dog too. And they're going to be.
Well, thank you. I hope we can continue to do this for a long, long
Absolutely,
time,
yeah.
because that's my dog's golf. They love bite work.
Yeah, I know. I know you do it for them. So
Of course. So you guys are amazing. I think of you as Luci's and Lili's dream team. Michael, how did you find Eric? And what made you decide to bring him on board?
Eric, I found to a friend. He recommended him, and I was looking to the time for a decoy in a full body suit for police dogs, military dogs, and I heard about him from my friend, and he was talking really positive, that Eric also not only can do the work, also physical and mentally he reads the dogs and helps the dogs over situations was a little bit insecure, and he rebuilds the dogs up to the point, and that is for me, from people what I know, is Eric the best in this field.
So if I wanted to do this by myself, let's say, I know a lot of people ask, can I do it myself? And I'm not a professional dog trainer. I only have Luci and Lili, and all I know is what I learned from you guys. What we did with Lucifer and Lili, is it possible to do it by yourself without professional trainers, just by watching like do-it-yourself videos?
No, I say no. It's 6 seconds. What I'm looking for. It's second decision what we need to take, and it needs to be from the handler and from the helper to the same time to help the dog over a situation where he is uneven, and so.
So it's possible if you do it yourself and you have a friend wear a bite suit, let's say, you could ruin the dog, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially when, I mean, you could do the prey stuff, the equipment side of things, the sportier side of things, but when it comes to aggression, one, it takes somebody that can really get aggression out of your dog, and also you don't want to do that yourself because then you're ruining your relationship with your own dog, you know, or your friend.
So when we do work at the bite table, I noticed it's like a dance that the three of you do. You, Lucifer, or Lili, you know, you two, and the dog. What is that? You know, how does that work? What is that? For you, it's like natural because you've done it so many times. But what is that you do? Because I see each one does something else to help the dog become more aggressive, more confident. What is it that you do exactly? How does that work?
I think the dog is very focused to one side only. When you train a dog on a bite table, he cannot spin around. Every time when you have a dog on a leash and he spins around, he loses the focus, he loses the energy to the target. And so on a bite table, there is only one way to the front. And the helper and decoy handler can provide this exactly as it goes. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you're taking the dog's genetic instincts and you're channeling them into a certain area, and then you're also, you could put the command on point, so it's instantaneous. When they say watch them, you can cap them, load them, and you can really channel that aggression. You could, targeting's huge, you know, for table work. And anything I generally, anything I introduce that's new to the dog, I'll do it up there in a controlled environment, and then we could take it out to the field after that.
it's also the height of the dog and the decoy is the same height.
Yeah.
So he is much more comfortable with all this aggression.
So what we've done so far with Luci and Lili, I know their genetics are absolutely incredible, but is it possible to create this type of dog with any dog, or does it take much more than just a couple of great trainers, or does it take more like genetics or a certain type of owner or handler, or can you do that with any dog? Any German Shepherd or Malinois or Pit
In
Bull
my
or whoever?
experience, there's three things: the trainer, the dog's genetics, and the handler. So they all have to be in sync and doing the same thing. You work a lot with your dog.
Yes, I do.
And
Every day.
it's phenomenal, like in public and things like that, which is like the huge part for personal protection, because if you can't bring him in public, he's
Then
useless
what's the
to you,
point?
right?
Exactly.
And so it's got to all come together. And yes, if you take the individual dog, no, you can't do it with any dog. Some dogs just won't do it. You know, some dogs are too prey motivated, and that's all they think about is biting equipment. Some dogs are too aggressive and defensive, and they won't really enjoy the work. So it's really, and then you coming into the picture, you notice when you come into the picture, your dogs bite harder and they fight harder because
I feel like they do it for me.
Yeah.
And so it does take a good team to build a dog, and the genetics of the dog have to be there.
So I know that when we go somewhere, both Luci and Lili are incredible. They lay down, they do what they need to do. And Lucifer is incredible. You know, he's always scanning the room. He's always looking for possible threats, which I think is incredible. And if he senses or sees something he doesn't like, he puts his head in he noses me and, you know, to let me know something's off. Is that something that can be taught, or is that genetic or instinct? How does that work?
I think it will be instinct, definitely for Lucifer. We trained him not to do this in public, so it's definitely an instinct. I think training here on the property is helping him to watch more out for you, to protect you. But I think it's a lot with instinct to do.
Yeah, I think it's instinct, and he understands his job. He understands what he's here for.
You know, I feel like my dogs actually have a job, and that's important because it gives them a purpose. And I think any living being needs a purpose in life. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely.
And they are working line dogs, so they need a job. And I know some people don't understand. They think that it's rough or aggressive or violent. And I love the violence. But maybe you can explain a little bit about the fact that they're working dogs and they need to work, they need a purpose, and they need a job. Otherwise, they become couch potatoes. Am I right or wrong?
They either become couch potatoes or neurotic creatures that destroy everything. They need an outlet for sure, mental and physical. And so this does both. You know?
So I see how much they look forward to it and how much they enjoy it. So this is appropriate for working dogs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about dogs that are show dogs? Can they do protection work, and do they enjoy it as much, or is it not genetically inherent in them?
I think show dogs can do this. Not every show dog. In Germany, they need to go in the stadium and do the protection part, what will take a lot of courage from a dog, but not every show dog. Probably the same with working line dogs is meant to do this. It's how you raise the dog from 8 weeks, a puppy, and build it up to go there.
And earlier we talked about the fact that you will take dogs on your property or on your property and you can train them and then bring them back to the owners, fully trained.
Yes.
But I don't think that's right. Because if I sent you my dogs, which I couldn't do, I
Right.
couldn't separate from my dogs, there's no way. But if I sent you the dogs and I got them back without going through the process, step by step, understanding and being a part of it, how would I know that the dog will do the same thing for me that he does for you? Because I don't know what to do, right?
Yeah, there's always
Doesn't make sense.
follow-up lessons during the board and train and then after the board and train. So
Do you get the same results with people whose dogs you board and train versus someone like me where you come out and you train them with me?
you're a unique situation, in my opinion, because most people don't do it as intensively throughout, because it's a one-day thing. We're here for 8 hours or however long it is, rep after rep after rep. And generally it would just, most people maybe go to a location, they'll work their dog 2 or 3 times within an hour's span, and then that's it. So what I've learned through this experience is that it's definitely a good thing to, take the whole day and do the work. But if I had a client whose dog I trained and then I could bring it back, I would definitely have to do the follow-up work, multiple times a week to get it to stick, and do good.
It's also Lucifer. He goes 8 miles on a day on a treadmill.
8.8 miles.
And so he has a lot of endurance. You cannot do 5 hours of protection work with a little breaks with a normal dog. He needs to have a lot of endurance and in
I see.
the heart to do this.
Also, I think I see, different people, dogs, and I talk to everyone because I love dog people.
Right.
And I personally don't think that working dogs are for everyone. I think it takes a lot of commitment, time, effort, energy, and a lot of money to do this, right? So I just think that there's so many people, they'll ask me, how come your dogs are not people aggressive? No, how come your dogs are not people reactive or other dog reactive? And frankly, I don't know why. Why are my dogs not people reactive or other dog reactive and some other dogs are? What is that?
I think you corrected them from young age on. When you correct the dog for misbehavior every time, then they get this not in their head that this is okay to do so. And this is what most people, even little dogs, in my opinion, you need to correct them when they bark to another dog aggressive. You need to get rid of it right away. You cannot let this get over and over and over, and the more the dog gets aggressive.
I think also, and we've discussed this before, is the dog mirrors its handler. So you're a confident person.
I think your dog is your best mirror.
I agree with that 100%. And so they're confident dogs. They don't have to worry about any dog walking down the street or anybody for that reason. And you'll take care of business probably before they will. So
100%.
But they feel that energy. It's
Yeah.
the energy
Yeah.
in which you present to them and
That
you
makes
walk
sense.
around with. So that's my answer to that. That's the way I feel about it.
And how big of a factor do you think is nutrition for dogs? So as you know, my dogs eat only raw. They've never eaten dog food. They eat the pre-raw model diet my way, and I'm crazy about nutrition. You know, I've become an expert since I got Lucy. Do you think that the way they eat makes a difference in how they look, how they act, their aggression, their behavior, their personalities, or does that not matter?
I think when you feed raw, it's the best thing what you can do for a dog. Not everybody can afford this, but I think there's always a way to make this happen. I mean, you are extremely into this, and not even I have the knowledge. While you studied this so intense
Nutrigenomics,
over the last
epigenetics
2
and
years,
nutrigenomics.
that you know, it's absolutely, definitely the best thing what you can do for the dog. And we see the results on Lucifer and Lili, the look, the masculinity, the size.
And they don't shed, by the way.
right, yeah.
Everyone asks why
Yeah.
my dogs don't shed. I don't know,
noticed
because
that as well.
maybe because I don't feed them dog
right,
food.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I've never done the direct comparison. I'd like to one day, but I see a major difference in the raw fed dogs over kibble fed dogs.
Straight talk, make for straight understanding. That's what I know. If you ain't heard what's the word when the word has been served in. That's on you, bro. Say it with your chest, don't digress. Keep it fresh, speak your whole truth, never give nothing less. Gotta give your all, give your best. If you try, you see failure, but aim for success, yes. Too blessed to be stressed, coming at you sideways, hit 'em with the finesse.